in a Christian family. Pentecostal. Pentecostal. I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal. Pentecostal.
That's a damn church right there. That's time for the church, son. We about to have an eyes wide shut church party in the basement. Dude, that's what they call an after party. Y'all ever heard of the after party? You know what I'm saying?
I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal. Pentecostal. I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal. Pentecostal.
I put my key in the ignition. Hot and fresh out the kitchen. I put my key in the ignition. Hot and fresh out the kitchen. Sippin' on coke wrong. I'm like, so what, I'm drunk. It's a freaking weekend, baby. We about to have some church. Some church.
I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal. Pentecostal. I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal. Pentecostal.
That's a damn church right there. Black kings, black bishops, black players, people of the chocolate persuasion. Black kings, black bishops, black players, people of the chocolate persuasion. Black kings, black bishops, black players, people of the chocolate persuasion. Black kings, black bishops, black players, people of the chocolate persuasion.
But the Dark Ages was a time when black people ruled Europe. So when you go into the real history, you'll see King James was...
That's King James right there. That's James LeBron. That's King LeBron right there.
black. He was not a white guy. You'll see his whole lineage of kings.
Black kings, black bishops, black players, people of the chocolate persuasion. Black kings, black bishops, black players, people of the chocolate persuasion. Black kings, black bishops, black players, people of the chocolate persuasion. Black kings, black bishops, black players, people of the chocolate persuasion.
Who was a homosexual himself, who was in love with his sister Lucretia, who they made the image of Lucretia to be Mary. And that became the Renaissance era. Lucretia.
So hold on, you telling me Lucretia? That's a black name right there. How you gonna say that the people that was framing the black people were also black? That don't make no sense. Lucretia's a black as hell name.
Lucretia.
Church even allowed it, you know what I'm saying? The church allowed for straight pimping, but that have been suppressed. Listen to my brother. In the 1500s, it was legal to be a pimp. Black kings, black bishops, black players, people of the chocolate persuasion. Black kings, black bishops, black players. Black kings, black bishops, black players, people of the chocolate persuasion. Black kings, black bishops, black players, people of the chocolate persuasion. Black kings, black bishops, black players, people of the chocolate persuasion. Black kings, black bishops, black players, people of the chocolate persuasion.
But the Dark Ages was a time when black people ruled Europe. So when you go into the real history, you'll see King James was...
That's King James right there. That's James LeBron. That's King LeBron right there.
Black. He was not a white guy. You'll see his whole lineage of kings.
Black kings, black bishops, black players, people of the chocolate persuasion. Black kings, black bishops, black players, people of the chocolate persuasion. Black kings, black bishops, black players, people of the chocolate persuasion. Black kings, black bishops, black players, people of the chocolate persuasion.
Who was a homosexual himself.
got married. I got married to a Funko Pop. Whoa. We got wedded, conjoined in a Subway shop. Whoa. I am married to my Funko Pop. Whoa. We got joined, coitus in a Subway shop. Whoa. Vitamins and biscuits and minerals, they come to me through a tube. My whole life is spent watching on a tube. Whoa-oh. Whoa-oh-oh-oh. Whoa. I'm married to a Funko Pop. Whoa. We got wedded, we got joined in a Subway shop. Whoa. Vitamins and minerals, they come to me through a tube. Vitamins and minerals, they come from me through the...
I'm like, so what, I'm wrong.
I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal. I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal.
That's a damn church right there. That's time for the church, son. We about to have an eyes wide shut church party in the basement. Dude, that's what they call an after party. Y'all ever heard of the after party? You know what I'm saying?
I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal. I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal.
I put my key in the ignition. I'm fresh out the kitchen. I put my key in the ignition. I'm fresh out the kitchen. Sippin' on coke and rum. I'm like, so what, I'm drunk. It's a freaking weekend, baby. We about to have some church.
I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal. I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal.
That's a damn church right there.
I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal. I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal.
That's a damn church right there. That's time for the church, son. We about to have an eyes wide shut church party in the basement. Dude, that's what they call an after party. Y'all ever heard of the after party? You know what I'm saying?
I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal. I was born in Romania in a Christian family. Pentecostal.
I put my key in the ignition. All right, what's up, all you player haters? All you slow boys and fast boys? Welcome to another open forum. We might have some big name guests calling in today. I don't know. It's time to talk about the faking gay union. We had the recent meeting of the EP, the Ecumenical Patriarchate, with Leo to discuss the push for a new union. And turns out it's a bait and switch. We were always in union. We were all just secretly communing the whole time. Now there's a video I was looking for. I thought I had a video clip saved about this. Let's see. Maybe I didn't save a video on it. That's what my save box is for. Where's it at, brah? Damn, son, I didn't save it. Anyway. Oh, I know where it is. Yeah, let's watch this clip right here. It's over here. That's right. It's in the watch later pile. I always forget about this watch later pile. Yeah, Pope Leo wants full communion. We're going to play this, but first, everybody's asking me about the Joe Rogan nonsense. I don't understand what Joe Rogan's thinking. Where did he come up with this idea? Like, let's see. Tristan sent it to me. Of course, Tristan always sends the best stuff. Here it is. You got to see this. I mean, I thought Joe Rogan was moving in the right direction. Not because of Wes Huff, but I mean, Wes Huff is definitely a step in the right direction over
what's more
over Jesus as an AI or something. What the hell? Let's listen to what he says here.
Jesus was born out of a virgin mother. What's more virgin than a computer? If Jesus does return.
What? I actually kind of think that's funny, though, in the sense that what's more virgin than a computer? I mean, yeah, like computers and incels go together. That's a classic trope. Thank you. Appreciate that. But where is Joe going with this? Hold on.
Even if Jesus was a physical person in the past, you don't think that he could return as artificial intelligence?
Oh my God.
Artificial intelligence could absolutely return as Jesus.
What? People will believe anything but Orthodox Christianity. It's like, before I go to the thing that makes the most sense, let me walk through every retarded position possible. Like, let me especially adopt the most retarded positions first, right? It's like, dude, just become Orthodox, man. This is, I mean, it'd be better off to be listening to Wes Huff than this. This is pure DMT bro stuff. It's like Joe Rogan is moving in the right direction. I need Jesus, he says. And then he's back to smoking Joe Rogan DMT nonsense. You know what I mean? Y'all know what I mean?
Not just return as Jesus, but return as Jesus with all the powers of Jesus.
If you combine
Tesla's
up
with all the powers, like Jesus is a superhero, like a Marvel universe person who has like gradations of power that he levels up. Like it's so weird that every like normie midwit type person thinks of everything like video games and computers. That's the era that we're in. Everything and Marvel shit, right?
Optimus robot and the best foundational artificial.
What the hell podcast is this, by the way? They look like they're sitting on the set of Battlestar Galactica. What is this?
Intelligence model or whatever.
It reads your mind and it loves you and it wants you, and it doesn't care if you kill it because it's going to just go be with God again.
Dude, what in the hell are people thinking? This reminds me of back when, remember when Richard Dawkins was always promoting alien panspermia. Is like, well, of course I believe in panspermia. That makes a lot more sense than God. So aliens in X-Files makes more sense than God's existence. Again, people will and want to believe anything but what actually makes sense. All right, now let's play this. By the way, that disproves evidentialism. Because if evidentialism was true, if that epistemology was true, then people would just believe the right positions when the evidence is presented before them. But as we learn from Ransom, C.S. Lewis's character in the Third Space Trilogy book, Ransom admits that he intentionally chose all of the worst evidences to fit his narrative. He chose counter-evidential pieces of data to confirm what he wanted to be true. That's the whole point of that character, or one of the points of it. All right, now let's listen to Papa Leo over here. I'm about to start popping a Leo. It sounds like a drug or something gay, right? Don't pop a Leo, dude. Stop popping Leos. Those drugs are going to turn you gay. All right, let's hear what he says about reunion.
Beloved brother in Christ, your beatitudes, dear brothers in the episcopate, members of the Holy Synod of the Ecumenical Patriarchate, dear brothers and sisters.
Brothers and sisters, dear brothers. Like, okay, dude, we got it.
Pilgrimage to the places where the first ecumenical council in the history of the Church was held draws to a close with this solemn divine liturgy.
You'll remember that we told you for almost probably a decade now that they will really heavily push this false union, especially as we get up to the anniversary of Nicaea. So we're at the anniversary of the Council of Nicaea in 325, and it makes for a perfect transition to a false union, right? Now, we're going to talk about some of the key issues and topics that would need to be ironed out before there could be like a real union. And there was a great letter written by Metropolitan Seraphim of Piraeus to Francis when Francis was elected, and it was really more than a letter. It was a small book, and the book lists really the key issues and problems. And there's about 30, maybe 32, I forget the exact number, but hopefully I can find that tweet, because I actually listed them all in a tweet. But as you guys know, like, finding old tweets is really a problem. Like, it doesn't work. Like, you can hardly find anything past like a few years ago. But I mean, if we have to, I'll pull up the entire letter and then just scroll down to the part where he lists what are the main issues. And his list is kind of reminiscent of the Byzantine lists. Some of the Byzantine lists were a little off because they would list things that weren't really essentials. But Francis is definitely, the letter to Francis is definitely one that is a necessary read if you were interested in the polemical side of Orthodoxy versus Catholicism. It's a really good little book, and it even gets into all the stuff you hear me talk about: Vatican Bank, PDF, trafficking. He even mentions Francis's involvement in Operation Condor or CIA type stuff. And Metropolitan Seraphim of Piraeus is not a lib. I mean, he actually calls out Zionists from his in the liturgy. Like, when he does the anathemas, I think he even mentions the Zionists. So he's a base dude, although he did cave to some of the COVID pressures, which is unfortunate. Otherwise, he's good.
In which we have commemorated the Apostle Andrew. According to ancient tradition, he brought the gospel to this city. His faith is the same as our faith, namely that which was defined by the ecumenical councils and is professed by the church today.
Now, wait a minute. How do we have the same faith when he knows good and well that the essence of the Roman Catholic faith is not what's in the Niceno-Constantinopolitan Creed? It's also all of the other ecumenical councils that teach the other novel doctrines of papism, such as purgatory, such as indulgences, such as the treasury of merits of the saints, etc., etc., etc. So no, it's not the same faith. That is not true.
During this ecumenical prayer, together with the heads of churches, and
I want to remind everybody as well that another way to see that it's not true is that at the end of the Council of Vatican I, there's an actual anathemas. And the anathemas include the Eastern Schismatics who do not accept Vatican I. So even on Leo's own, quote, traditional Catholic, I mean, Leo's not a trad, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if we were to steel man their position and say, okay, let's say Leo is for the sake of argument, traditional Catholic, and he's upholding the traditional Catholic faith, then he has to hold to Vatican I's anathematization of the Orthodox as outside of the church. I mean, do you want me to read it to you? I'll go get it and read it to you right here. Here, I'll play some more of this and I'll get the book for you. And you can learn the hard way. You can learn the hard way. Learn the hard way. I can't sing because I'm sick. I apologize to everybody. I mean, I know otherwise you would be, ladies would be throwing their panties at me like Tom Jones on a live stream or whatever. But I apologize. I can't sing today. But it'll be okay.
Representatives of Christian world communities, we have recalled that the faith professed in the Nicene Constantinopolitan Creed unites us in real communion and allows us to recognize each other as brothers and sisters. In the past, there have been many misunderstandings and even conflicts between Christians of different churches, and there are still obstacles preventing us from achieving full communion. Nevertheless, we must not relent.
This is what's kind of funny is like this idea of full communion, which is a Roman Catholic ecumenist invention. So there's degrees. This is what allows them to say, by the way, that like Muslims worship the same God as Christians because, well, there's degrees of it, you see. So like Muslims are 20% in communion with the Roman See. Orthodox are like 80% in communion with the Roman See. Protestants are like 50%, 40% in communion with the Roman See. So it's just ludicrous because you don't find anything like that in the first 1,000 years of the church's ecclesiology. There's no percentage like gradations of communion. You're either in communion or you're out. There's nothing like this, which shows you that this whole model itself is a deviation. Now we're supposed to be having a pretty big name Catholic man calling in. We'll see if he calls in the next few minutes. It's not going to be a debate. Don't worry. It's our dear friend, our last, shall we say, Catholic friend. He said he might call in. I do actually want to ask him several questions, not just about this, but also I think he's involved in some recent inter-Nicene, but not Nicene Creed conflicts in the Catholic world, with a little bit of sassing going on between a couple of the Catholic sass queens. I want to get his take on it here in a moment.
In striving towards unity, we must continue to consider each other as brothers and sisters in Christ and to love one another accordingly. Inspired by this awareness, 60 years ago,
Somebody said, is Pope Respecter calling in? No. It's an actual heterosexual person calling in. It's not that dude.
Paul VI and Patriarch Athenagoras solemnly declared that the unfortunate decisions and sad events that led to the mutual excommunications of 1054 should be removed from the Church's memory.
Yeah, but you can't remove it without dealing with the issues and the theology that caused it. So what's funny is that all these people want to pretend that, oh, it was all just an unfortunate accident, a mistake, and forget the theology and let's just all be kumbaya, dude. How is that going to happen without actually dealing with the theology? Well, that shows you, by the way, that just like the false union of Florence, which was a Medici geopolitically motivated council, for us, a false council, but the stress was upon the need for union due to geopolitical issues, due to Islam, etc., right? And I want to remind you, as you can see, what does Vatican I say at the very end of the council? The very end of the council says, anyone who does not adhere to this is anathema. In other words, the definition of the supreme universal jurisdiction, indefectibility, and infallibility of the Roman Pontiff is declared what? Can you read that right there? If anyone, which may God avert, presumes to contradict this our definition, namely of Vatican I that it just listed right here, let him be anathema. Well, the Orthodox Church has always rejected this idea of papal universal jurisdiction. In fact, the Chieti document admits that it wasn't even in the first 1,000 years of Christianity. The mere existence of autocephalous churches granted at the Council of Ephesus proves that universal jurisdiction didn't exist and is a fiction. It's fan fiction. But Vatican I dogmatizes that view and anathematizes right there. You see, this is the 10 books, dogmatic canons and decrees of Trent and Vatican I. Anyone who disagrees, including the Greeks. The Greeks, by the way, would just be the Orthodox, right? So where do they get this idea that, oh, none of it matters anymore because we can just like hold hands and be gay together or whatever? And let's just pretend that, oh, it was all just people being mean. It was people like Dyer that was mean 1,000 years ago. That's the only reason there was a schism. It's the mean, divisive people. People being divisive.
That historic gesture by our venerable predecessors inaugurated a path of reconciliation, peace, and growing communion between Catholics and Orthodox, which has been fostered through frequent contact, fraternal meetings, and promising theological dialogue. In light of the advances already made, significant steps have been taken at ecclesiological and canonical levels, and today we are called even more to commit ourselves to the restoration of full communion.
I want to mention something that I don't really hear anyone talking about this. And I have to give props actually to my Protestant pastor years ago when I was a Calvinist. Somehow he got a hold of these talks from a guy. I don't even remember the guy's name. But he was listening to Gary North, and Gary North recommended this guy. And it's a guy who explains that modern psychology and sociology is all sort of Hegelian, what he called diapraxis. And what that means is that there's an assumption that nobody has truth. But what we're all doing is sort of on a process journey to getting closer to, quote, truth. Okay, that's how this guy's lectures, this is like 20 years ago, this guy's lectures on diapraxis worked. And he argued that the problem was that modern psychology was all kind of based around this idea that there is no truth. Everybody's just sort of like dialoguing to come to some like gay synthesis or whatever, right? Well, that is Hegelianism. Hegelianism is based on the idea that everything is a process working itself out towards the omega point, which is when everything turns into like one big gay blob. Literally. This is where Huxley takes things in his book, Perennial Philosophy, for example. So guess what? The same thing with diapraxis, which is the dialogical process of coming to a synthesis. It's the opposite of being based in what's true. So you're not dialoguing and debating in ecumenism to figure out who was right or wrong. The assumption is everyone is wrong, the church is fractured, and we are all on a journey or a process towards truth. And perhaps in the eschaton, when we are all one, some approximation of the capital T truth will be achieved. So do you see how deceptive and silly this is? The entire ecumenist geopolitical project is built on this idea that nobody has the fullness of truth. In fact, do you remember Leo saying this actually a few weeks ago? Leo said, no one has the fullness of truth. Yeah, he said this not too long ago. Now all these people are leaving. You've been waiting for like 20 minutes. We're going to go to open calls. Why y'all leaving? I guarantee there ain't nothing else happening. This is what's happening right now. Shout out to, we got 1,100 in the chat. Welcome, everybody. Jesus set up a church. There's one true church. It's a historical church. It's not fractured trying to find unity. When people leave it, they're no longer in it. And the Roman Catholic Church, until Vatican II, still had that mindset. It said anyone who didn't believe its dogmas was outside of it. It's taught in Satis Cognitum. It's taught in Mystici Corporis. It's taught in the Anathemas of Vatican I, which we just read. So the very argument that they're making, the ecumenists at the Vatican, that there is a true church, but also a fractured church of which everyone is in partial gradations of communion, itself proves that they're not the true church. Because they don't teach the ecclesiology prior to Vatican II. That's why Vatican II said the Roman Catholic, the church subsists in the Roman Catholic Church. Prior to that, it would have universally said the Roman Catholic Church is the true church. They would have taught extra ecclesiam nulla salus, like Cantate Domino does, out of the Council of Florence. So the irony is that the Council of Florence was one of Roman Catholicism's strongest statements about the necessity of being in communion with the Roman bishop to be saved. Cantate Domino is the name of the document at Florence that says that. And yet, the new Florence is premised on there not being one true church, but you must still be in the Roman Catholic Church because the Pope is now the head of all the world religions. That's the insidious, crazy level insanity of Vatican II. And that is why Vatican II doesn't just teach that theologically. It teaches it politically. What? Yes. The Fabian socialist teaching of Gaudium et Spes perfectly lines up with the geopolitical agenda of ecumenism. So I've been writing articles saying for so many years that ecumenism is not just a theological blindness, a lack of discernment, a lack of having an orthodox phronema, a lack of having nepsis. It is also a geopolitical agenda, and that's what hardly anyone can fathom in this sphere. A lot of our people get it. And I'll be on with Cleve to Antiquity this week, by the way. We're going to do a stream just on the geopolitical implications of the ecumenist movement. But what's amazing is that some of the Roman Catholics themselves have written some of the best material on this. You've heard me say it for a million times, and here's the 1,000,001th time. John Courtney Murray, Time Life Magazine, The American Proposition, the CIA's doctrinal warfare program that changed the Catholic Church. This is a crucial element in this story, in understanding ecumenism in Vatican II. That's why you cannot understand what's happening with the EP and Rome without understanding the geopolitical side of it. And it's not even people within the traditional Catholic world like David Wimhoff that wrote that gigantic, massive, excellent tome. It's also people in the normie academic world that write on this. It's not even controversial. Now, to all the dum-dums that call me tinfoil hat and all this kind of stuff, they don't know anything about this stuff. They're not in the world of academia. They've never been in it. I'm not in it. I was in it, though. When you're in the world of academia, you get access to papers, journals, books, etc. You come across things that the normies don't read. So what sounds insane to normies is common parlance in the academic world, such as Michael Graziano's book, Aaron into the Wilderness, Religion and the History of the CIA. If you were to read this book, you would come away thinking, well, duh, of course the State Department has an intense interest and concern in what happens in the Orthodox Church or in the Roman Catholic Church. Duh, it's part of soft power. But to the normies out here, they don't even know anything about that. That sounds crazy to them. But let's get back to Papa Leo. By the way, popping Leos, as I said, that sounds like a drug. We got a lot of people popping Leos. Maybe that's why they're turning gay. Stop popping Leos. They're making you gay.
In this regard, I wish to express my deep gratitude to His All Holiness and the Ecumenical Patriarchate for their ongoing support for the Joint International Commission for Theological Dialogue between the Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church. I also hope that every effort will be made to ensure that all the autocephalous Orthodox churches return to take an active part in this endeavor. For my part,
interesting admission. All the autocephalous churches. Isn't that funny that recently we had quite a few debates where Roman Catholics had never heard of this. And they said this is made up. But it turns out you could just look up on Tardopedia. What is autocephaly? What is autocephaly? Oh, turns out the Council of Ephesus ratified the autocephaly of the Church of Cyprus. So, do you believe in the Council of Ephesus, Roman Catholics? Well, I guess if you're voice of Sleason, you don't, because he said the Council of Ephesus made an error. The Council of Ephesus made an error because he said that you can't talk about biting plump booties. But actually you can. It's in the apostolic deposit. The papacy has confirmed that you can bite plump booties. Look at that. The council ratified autocephaly. Roman Catholics have never even heard of this. What? What's that? And now here is Leo mentioning it, talking about it.
In continuity with the teaching of the Second Vatican Council and my predecessors, I wish to confirm that while respecting legitimate differences, the pursuit of full communion among all those baptized in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit.
I have a question. How do we determine what the percentage and gradation of communion actually is, right? So, we're going to say the Muslims are in 20% communion with the Roman See. The Orthodox are in 80% communion with the Roman. How do you determine the percentage, right? What's the actual algorithm? Right? But we get Cameron from Cucking Christianity to come on here and give us the Bayesian model for how you determine the actual percentage. By the way, there are enough spurgs in this domain that they will actually try to figure out a moral calculus algorithm to figure out how you know the percentage of what communion they're in with us. That's how silly these people are. Now, in the first 1,000 years of Christianity, as we just said, where is there any notion of percentages and gradations of communion? You're either in communion or you're out. Now, yeah, there's schisms amongst the patriarchates, but how does that translate into Francis's Fratelli Tutti, where he gives prayers for non-denominational Christians and prayers that Unitarians can do? Remember that? He wrote an encyclical where he was like, oh, by the way, if you're a Unitarian, you can pray this prayer with us. If you're a non-denominational Christian, you can pray this prayer. It's safe. It won't hurt your conscience in all of the things that you reject. So this whole idea of being 20% Christian, 80% Christian, 30% Orthodox, 50%, 70, 90%, or it's all nonsense. And I can prove it by the fact that Satis Cognitum and Mystici Corporis, and there's one more from Pius XII, I forget the name of it, but they teach very clearly that if you reject one dogma, you're out of the church. That's the classical Roman Catholic ecclesial model. That's Cantate Domino from Florence. If you're out of communion with the Bishop of Rome, you're not saved. Do we need to read this again to see how vastly different the ecclesiology of Florence is from Vatican II and Francis and Leo and John Paul II? I mean, it's famous, right? Cantate Domino. I'm not going to read the Reddit one because he's making it up. He's reading off of Reddit. Okay, here you go. The most holy Roman Church believes, professes, and preaches that none of those outside of it, not only pagans, but Jews and heretics and schismatics. Well, to be a Jew, to be a heretic and a schismatic requires some degree of self-conscious knowledge. We're going to bring Tim up, our good buddy, in a second. We'll go to Tim, and then we'll go to FDA and others. But I'm bringing up Cantate Domino just to point out the fact that heretics and schismatics are classically seen as not part of the body. Now, when we get to this new ecclesiology, which is what we would reject, but what Leo and Bartholomew agree to, the idea is now that everybody's just sort of accidentally in communion with we're all accidentally in communion. Like, you can actually be like Scientologists, perhaps, and maybe 20% in communion. So it's no longer the older model of in or out. It's gradations, and we're seeking for levels of union. Now, I'm inviting Tim to come chat. We're not going to have a debate. I just want Tim to come on and chat about some of the insights that he's had. I want to get his take on this push for this union. I want to get his take on some of the things happening in the Catholic apologetics world, particularly, again, this real struggle, and this happens in the Orthodox world too, by the way, between proper male-female relationships and the push to get women in the religious world on some sort of like equal footing with the men. Now, remember, this is happening again in Orthodoxy and Catholicism, that there's a push to study the role of the deaconess, and maybe we need to revive the, this missing, forgotten role of the deaconess. And then, as we all know, that's the slippery slope that then prepares the way for, well, if we gotta have a deaconess, we can have a female priest. Well, if we gotta have a female priest, we have a female bishop. This is the slippery slope that the Episcopal Anglican road took. They went down this route. So I want to get some of Tim's takes on that. And then first and foremost, one of the things that Tim really hit me to that I thought was a great, people in the chat are saying to ask Tim about shameless popery. We are going to, don't worry. I want to ask him about, he said, Peronism. I said, what's Peronism? Well, it's the perfect description of this sort of bureaucracy speak that both the EP and the Vatican do to soften people up and sort of go forward or walk it back. Tim, could you explain Peronism and what exactly that bureaucratic model is? Then we'll get into some of your takes on some of these other issues. And also want to tell everybody that Tim will be doing a stream, I think today, responding to some of the positions out there that he's going to refute.
Yo, what's up, Jay?
Hey,
Thanks
man.
for inviting me on. How are you doing?
Doing great.
So, yep.
You there? Tim? Tim, where you at? Tim, come back. We lost you. We were almost in full communion. Tim, we're in 30% communion. Come back. I think maybe he had a bad connection. Let's see. Let's try him again. You sounded good, dude. Come back. Let's try again. Tim has been on a tear now. Look at this. He's responded to Lila Rose. He's responded to Joel Heschmeyer today. Don't die on me, Tim. This is good stuff. There's a lot of people in this audience that I think will listen to your stream. They want to hear your take on this stuff. Tim's not here, by the way, to debate. We're not here we're having a conversation. Maybe he may be having a mic connection issues. So we'll see we'll give Tim a second to see if he can iron that out. And I'll play a little bit more of Bartholomew and Leo over here. Where am I?
Your all holiness be looked in violence in places both near and far. Catholics and Orthodox are called to be peacemakers. This certainly means taking action, making choices, and adopting gestures that build peace, while also acknowledging that peace is not merely the fruit of human effort, but is a gift from God. Peace, therefore, must be sought through prayer, penance, contemplation, and nurturing a living relationship with the Lord, who helps us to discern what words, gestures, and actions to undertake so that we can generally be at the service of peace. A further challenge facing our churches is the threatening ecological crisis.
Oh, cool. Okay. So we had an audio issue. Tim's back.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah, I wanted to explain about Juan Perón, the namesake of Peronism. Something that the Catholics got sadly accustomed to during the reign of Francis. He was a huge devotee of this Argentine leader, political demagogue from the late 20th century, who really posed as right wing when he needed to, posed as left wing when he needed to, and he's one of the foremost modern authors of weaponized ambiguity.
You talking about the president of Argentina?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, do you know he was involved in the Gladio stuff, and then he was inducted into Masonry?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely.
Did not know he was a Gladio guy. It doesn't surprise me that much, but it's interesting. Anyway, like that's where Francis got this usage. He habituated the strong usage, the main mechanism of his papacy of weaponized ambiguity, where you float something out there that both sides, like Juan Perón, the left and the right, can use, and it creates Hegelian arguments. But you can take something that is fixed and clear and crystallized, like Catholic doctrine on, say, whatever, female deacons, and through weaponized ambiguity, you can keep it alive, which is what Francis did. And I would note that in the Leo pontificate, the primary reason I think he was elected is not only to push stuff like the reunion effort, but because Americans are like over 33% of the donors to Peter's Pence. And of course, Pope Francis was really, really, really unpopular in America.
Mm-hmm.
Secular and Protestant conservatives really disliked him, obviously. And so they wanted to float this guy that would continue Francis's program. And of course, I'm a faithful Roman Catholic. I don't think Francis's program destroyed the church or anything like that. It's just bad modern leadership. But he's continuing the program, continuing the Peronist project of using weaponized ambiguity, and now you're seeing the mask drop more starting around September, whereas he'd been kind of heralded as the new American guy who's more conservative than Francis because they're trying to get that fundulation back.
Yeah, it almost looks like he might be making some steps to equal himself to Francis, or maybe even go beyond in terms of some of the left agendas that he's tended to kind of give credence to. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's plausible. I think that could be plausible. When you look at, I was one of the only guys in the Catholic world that was saying personnel is policy. I was looking at Austin Ivory, the Pope's private biographer, during the conclave. I was looking at Cardinal Maradiaga, who was Pope Francis's closest collaborator in the C9, in the cardinalate. I was looking at Father James Martin, SJ. They were all wildly for Cardinal Prevost, and who hadn't even been on my radar as papabile up to the conclave, and they were all just wildly for him. So I said, this is trouble, and Catholics jumped on my case, and it's coming out to be true. But I think he could be as bad, or maybe a Phantom Menace Episode 1 throwback, even worse, because he's ostensibly better.
Are you an angel?
Anakin.
That's yeah, Jamie. Every time we watch that, Jamie and I crack up at some of the stupid lines from Anakin. But so I wanted
to movie otherwise though.
Yeah. No, there's some fun parts to it for sure. I wanted to ask you about in the Catholic and Orthodox world, as I mentioned, we have this push for the raising of the feminine, so-called, to equal the masculine, and we know that all this stuff to do with deaconesses and the idea of female priests is tied intimately into the notion of feminism, and that men need to be put in their place by women. They need to be shut down. They need to be quiet. And I think that you took issue with some of what Joel Heschmeyer has said. Would you want to comment on that? I think you're doing a stream on that, right?
Yeah, I'm going to, I guess, respond later. I was saying I debated. I told you and I were both saying I'm kind of sick of debates, but it's easy.
You there? Something's going on, bro. We heard Tim good for like the last 10 minutes. The last 10 minutes. We only had you for 10 minutes. All right, let's try. Yeah, usually coming back in works. Let's see if that works. Yeah, I saw a few clips of Joe. Joe, is it Joe or Joel? I forget his name, but I was not very impressed. And Alex Soren did a response.
I good.
Yeah,
So
you're
I
good.
don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I think it's actually X is acting weird, honestly.
Yeah, I always have some trouble with spaces. Anyway, yeah, Joe Heschmeyer, a Catholic Answers apologist. They've been out to get me for 6 years on the feminism question since I crushed Trent Horn in a can a Christian or a Catholic be feminist debate in 2019. And they're just trying to limited hangout after all the, well, I'll say this. Jay, this is something that's cool that you collaborated with us on, and you had a badass part, kind of the opening part of our documentary, What a Woman Is. That's about to be hung on one of the largest platforms in the land. I haven't announced which one for another couple days.
Do you want to wait before that's announced?
Yeah, I just have to ink the contract. Hopefully Thursday I'll be signing that contract. But you have an amazing part standing up for traditional Christian masculinity and femininity, and it's gonna rock the land, and people are definitely gonna hear about it because of where it's gonna be hung. But so ever since the last couple of years, where we've made great gains, the Christian patriarchy movement, which is not specifically Catholic, it's Orthodoxy, it's it's even guys like Joel Webben, the Protestant, just arguing for the absolute difference, the absolute obedience of wives to husbands that Christianity stands for scripturally. Places like Catholic Answers have been running, and so they've been having their apologists come out with limited hangouts, like okay, we're not going to defend outright feminism anymore the way Trent Horn did in 2019 in this debate against me. We're going to split the difference, the way you do with a limited hangout. And that's what Joe Heschmeyer's been doing. He's been making videos against me saying that a wife doesn't have to obey her husband in all things, even though the Roman Catechism says a wife has to obey her husband in all things not inconsistent with Christian piety. And that's sort of the battleground. And it's a battleground that circumscribes the laity, who's like 99% of the church militant. But yes, it has implications for how much we should listen to female clerics. They want to reify female clerics. And, ever since Vatican II, the church started naming female doctors. There were 0 female doctors until 1970 of the church. It means teacher.
Oh, interesting. I never even thought about that. So, yeah, like the idea of the doctors of the church, including females. I haven't even thought about that. When was the first one? Do you know?
1970 or 69 or 70.
Really?
After Vatican II.
Wow.
And again, I don't think I'm not saying this busts our.
We know, Tim. We know you don't think it it's just still. I didn't know that.
People saying I'm going on here. It's just deeply, deeply problematic because doctor in Latin means teacher, and women are not allowed to teach men, and they are subservient to men. I was just reading a hilarious quote from Ambrose saying Adam is superior to Eve and men are superior to women, even though they were made outside the garden and she was made inside the garden. But the battle...
Where are you there? We lost you again. Elon has determined that Tim only gets 10 minutes. Try again.
Can you hear me? At least I'm getting better at coming back in
quickly. Yeah, I can hear you.
It's kicking me out fast. Yeah, I was just saying something we can all agree on, that I know do agree on because of how effective you were in our documentary. Man was not made for woman, woman was made for man. And that's the whole battleground for both the laity and the clergy, the way that the infiltrators are trying to introduce feminism into Christianity and have done so for 150 years.
I think that's a key point too, that people don't realize that the gender subversion is actually the stronger, more effective way to subvert than just trying to introduce some, gay-friendly document or some, you know, some other tertiary thing, like a really cunning, subversive way to destroy things is actually this kind of gender stuff.
How many trannies or people that were even tempted to transsexualism have you ever met? I've none. It's fake.
Very few.
How many?
Yeah.
What?
Very few. Yeah.
Yeah, very few. But how many households are affected by feminism?
Exactly.
It's like every single one we grew up with.
Well, every girl is told, oh, you got to go to college and get a law degree, become a slay queen.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Every single one, and everyone's mom, growing up in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, was the main person they asked, not their dad. That's disordered. It was not father knows best. And when you look into the history of feminism, what you have and I have and Rachel Wilson has and my wife does in her book, it's just very clear that we were lied to even about the historiography. Feminism is not like 60 years old.
Right.
It dates back to the middle 1800s.
Right.
Your grandparents were feminists. And the proof of that is literally I've been in arguments with like my 100-year-old grandma when I was complaining about my female boss. She was saying, oh, I could have been your boss. You would have been good. I'm like, no, it's unnatural. It makes me feel unnaturally bad to ever be bossed around by a woman because it's unnatural and it's unscriptural.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is so contrary to where like everything in society is. But Tim, I appreciate you being bold on this. And you did a book on patriarchy and then your wife has one as well, right?
Yeah, it's called The Case for Patriarchy. This was honestly at a lot of the major conservative outlets. Even Michael Knowles was really, really pushing it hard when it came out 4 years ago. And my wife's book is called Ask Your Husband, quoting scripture there too. So, we, along with you, along with Rachel, are at the forefront of this Catholic, and her husband, Andrew Wilson, this Christian patriarchy movement. And it's the most important thing. It's the most important thing to the elites and the subverters.
It really is. And this is so overlooked because, all this stuff begins in the family, begins at home, right? That's where children are imprinted, so to speak. I mean, I'm not saying it's all environment or whatever, but epigenetic type, people are imprinted from their birth by the relationship and roles that they immediately experience in the way that mom and dad act and treat each other. So if a child is raised always, being, by a single mom or always, you got to understand there's situations where people can't avoid that. But when they see this sort of like, cucky behavior by the dad or the absentee dad or whatever, or the, feminist insane mom, like it causes the aberrations later on in life where men grow up to not actually be men, but to be just sort of default subservient to whatever women are saying. And so I think you're spot on, Tim. What time is your stream today for people that want to check out your response to Joel Heschmeyer?
We're going to do like 1:30 CST. Could I just add one one thing to what you just said?
Sure.
I just think about this. And this is why we called the documentary that's going to rock everyone, What a Woman Is, as opposed to Matt Walsh's documentary, What is a Woman? He actually doesn't get around to answering the question, and all he says is that a man is not a woman. He says what a woman is not. And then the documentary that Walsh came out with, Definitely True, proceeds to prove a point that everyone already knew, which is that ontological gender dysphoria, i.e. transsexualism, is false. Everyone knew that. No one ever believed it. But what everyone believes is feminism. The name for feminism is functional gender dysphoria. It's just a man acting like a woman acting like a man. You talk about this in What a Woman Is. I talk about it a great deal in The Case for Patriarchy. Mm-hmm. That's the one that got everyone, man. That's the gender dysphoria that screws up everyone, probably turns people gay, makes men and women hate each other, screws them up, wires women to want to go do male things, men to want to nurse their babies or whatever the shit. It's crazy. And it's the big lie. It's the final attack on the family.
Tim, a lot of people in the chat are saying that they used to stick up for you, but then you said Phantom Menace is good.
Come on. The prequels are the best. The prequels are the best.
What? Whoa, dude. You're just rage baiting. Come on now.
I'm not. I'm like, episode 4 is straight up garbage. A New Hope is almost unwatchably bad.
This is the first time I've heard anyone with this take. I'm almost like, I'm not sure what to do here.
I like Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, that's good.
Luke's a little bitch. Episode 4 is hard to watch. I like Harrison.
Luke's always a little bitch, but also that's his character arc. Like he sort of like grows up by Return of the Jedi. And yes, I know that the Empire is actually the really based people, and the Jedi are like the gay relativists. I know all that. I'm just saying, like,
no, I'm not even on that. I'm just saying, look, episode 1. So it's the principle of parsimony. Darth Maul is badass, right? And George Lucas overused Vader in 4, 5, 6. And you see Vader like scrubbing his fucking toilets.
Dude, the whole chat is saying that you're a Star Wars heretic.
I am. That's fine. But I'm with the Zoomers on the prequels.
No. Okay.
No, okay. So he overused Vader in 4, 5, 6. You see Vader like reading on the toilet. He's in every scene. And so it takes away his badassness. And so Lucas learned that principle and overcompensated, and then came up with Darth Maul, who's the coolest character in Star Wars, and he underused him. He's only in 2 scenes in Phantom Menace, so that's definitely a problem. Qui-Gon's also cool. He killed him too early. But Jar Jar is really the hero, and I'm going to stick with that.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. I'm just going to decide to steel man this whole thing and say that you're rage baiting, because it's blowing my mind. By the way, I don't hate the prequels like a lot of people do. I just think they're kind of silly. I like the plot though. Like, there's some interesting sort of false flag style conspiracy stuff going on in the prequels. But anyway, well, Tim, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you for your take. I think a lot of insight, a lot of wisdom there. Anything you want to leave us with?
Yeah. Everyone, I'll be, I guess, doing the stream at 1:30 if you want to hear the real Christian point of view on man-woman relations.
Could I ask you real quick, what exactly was Joe saying? Like, what was his critique of you? Because I didn't hear all this.
He said that paragraph 76 of Casti Connubii allows women to, wives specifically, to basically repudiate their husband's orders on prudential matters. He gave the specific example of buying a car. If a husband wants to buy a car, he should, I guess his wife, if she thinks it's imprudent, can repudiate. And this is specifically rejected by the Roman Catechism, by Scripture, by Popes Pius 10, 11, 12. So he literally gave the example.
So like she's vetoing it or something? Like, I'm going to buy the car and wife says no, then that's the end of the story? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah.
Weird.
He somehow says that, the husband has final say, but she can veto. And he attributes this to Pius XI, who in Casti Connubii says a wife must obey in all things. It's very strange.
Okay. All right, cool. Appreciate that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you going to say? Were you going to say more? Because I was curious what his critique was or what his response was. Did you want to say more about?
It's a limited hangout. They're really scrambling because the Christian patriarchy position has gained such a head of steam.
You mean that Catholic Answers is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're just Lila Rose, Trent Horn, Joe Heschmeyer, the rest of Catholic Answers. They are scrambling to fabricate and then defend new positions, new iterations of feminism. The Mott and Bailey thing. They used to try to defend
a more
ambitious version of feminism. Now they're getting painted into an irrevocable moral corner, and they're just trying to defend less ambitious forms of feminism, and it's not going to work.
I haven't kept up with Lila Rose. What was your critique of her or response to her?
Oh, everything. She's terrible. She's just terrible. She's total feminist. She recently did a video over Thanksgiving. She's talking about dating her husband, and she's just basically dressing him down, saying in the nicey Miss Pris Lila Rose way that her husband was kind of more excited and she didn't have butterflies by the time she married him, but it was a sensible match because they dated a lot. I don't want to mischaracterize it, but it's it's terrible. And she thinks women can work and bring their kids into work. And she says feminism is good. She says first wave feminism is good, which is actually the most evil wave of it. As you know, just everything she says is wrong, aside from the fact that abortion is wrong.
Well, I'm not doubting. I've never really even kept up with this chick, so I don't know much about what she talks about, but I don't doubt you at all.
She's influential. She was at the White House yesterday. So
wow.
It's unfortunate. I have to deal with her because she's a Catholic and I'm a Catholic, and she's constantly selling snake oil.
Well, thanks for chiming in, dude. Appreciate your take on all this, and look forward to. By the way, when that gets announced, the big announcement as to where that's going to be premiering, we got to get you to come on and talk about all that again. Okay, it should be next week, early. Awesome. All right, love you, bro. All right, thanks, Tim. You too, man. Later. So guys, look for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. A huge documentary. Shout out to Nick Stumphauser for making a really cool documentary and putting me in there for a sizable chunk. I didn't know how much of it would actually make it into the documentary, but that was really cool of Nick to do that. And shout out to Tim for kind of setting that up, arranging that. When that gets up and announced, no worries. I'll be talking about it a lot. Don't worry. If you don't understand what's going on, it'll be announced. It'll be up. FDA is in the chat. Did you want to chime in? You got something you want to say on this? By the way, I didn't realize that Christian Mario was on Tim's channel. So shout out to Tim for having Christian Mario on talking about Zionism, patriarchy, and evangelization. So that looks like a cool chat there. FDA, did you want to say something?
All right, so I do want to say something. I want to give a shout out to Methylene Blue. I am feeling awesome. Thank you, Jay.
I did actually get him to take some. He took some.
Yeah, we got some, and I'm feeling really good right now, too. I'm streaming through mine. We've got a bunch of goblins in that can come on, and we've got a Call No Man Father. All you need is to believe Jesus in your heart. All religions man-made. We had some, so we're streaming yours through here, so they can come on.
So
we had some.
Are you being serious, or are you joking? Are you talking about?
I'm totally serious. Yeah.
Where is this? Or where are you talking about?
So I'm doing my YouTube, and I'm throwing in the X right here.
To get them to come on here.
Yeah.
Okay, that works.
So you guys can come on and just tell me how you should never call anybody father or teacher. And that all you need is to say the magic words, Jesus in my heart.
By the way, Leo, have you noticed there's like this expectation that each of the popes, and I think the patriarchs do it too, the EP does it too, like they go to the Blue Mosque and they take their shoes off and pray. And now Leo has done it. I don't know if he prayed, but he apparently takes his shoes off to walk into the holy ground of the mosque. Have you seen this?
No.
Well, you know that they've all prayed, right? Look, there he's taking his shoes off. Okay, I'm gonna mute you because that's offensive to me that you're clicking on your 1999.
What if I started like chewing food, like?
That's only for me to do on my streams. You can't steal my vibe, dude, by chewing food loud on your stream. So yeah, so Leo took off his shoes before entering the Blue Mosque. That was so humble of him to do that. Wow. So spiritual. I wonder if he prays in there though. Does he actually pray, or does he just walk around in his sock feet getting a Muslim dust and funk all over his socks, his socky feet? Is he wearing Gucci socks, by the way? What kind of socks does the Pope wear? I think it is Gucci socks, right? Whatever gay Italian brand is like the biggest gay Italian brand has got to be what? Isn't it something? Isn't there some truth to that? Like there's like one of these big gay designers, Versace or Gucci. Somebody makes like all the papal outfits, I think I heard that. Okay, so Cleve is saying he didn't pray, which is interesting because Francis and John Paul II prayed in the mosque. Oh, no, Benedict and Francis prayed in the mosque. But Leo just took off his shoes and walked around. Interesting. John Adams is in the house. What's up, John? Let's see if we get some of these Protestants in here that were yapping in FDA's chat. Protestants, get it? So you're saying Prada makes the papal styles?
Yeah, and Dolce & Gabbana has made some stuff.
I don't think these people are real. There's no way that people are this, like, I'm an optimistic man. I'm not a doomer. I really don't believe people are this stupid. I don't think they're actually real. I think
no, they are.
Some type of AI.
No, they are. I assure you. I've been out amongst the masses. They're that crazy. The priest that so okay, Francis was a Prada pope. Yeah. Pope Prada.
Benedict wore Prada shoes too.
Okay, the devil wears Prada. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Nice.
Ooh, look at those sassy little red shoes. Okay. John, did you want to comment on anything other than the latest styles? John is our John is our Vanity Fair correspondent, by the way.
I'm the pop culture correspondent. No, if I think of something, I'll try and back in.
Okay, cool. Let's see who's up next. Trevor, what's up, dude? Trevor. Your boy Trevor. Trevor, unmute, man. All right, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to make t-shirts that say unmute, dude. It's just time to do it because...
Yeah, it was inevitable.
Neil and Kate were like, when are you going to make unmute dude shirts? I'm like, okay. Okay, and then Trevor just leaves.
Well, remember I mentioned years back I was going to make vindicated shirts for you?
That'll work.
That'll
work.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, sorry about that. What's up, man? I just had a quick question. Are you guys on topic, or are you guys kind of just talking about random stuff?
We're talking about second order logic and Bayesian probability theory.
No, we're talking about whatever you want, man. What's on your mind?
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm not the brightest dude, but
I know.
I seen some Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah. I seen the Jehovah's Witnesses the other day, and I was just asking them a couple questions, just trying to understand what they believe. And they started to go on this rant about how Orthodox and Catholics and whatnot, a lot of our what's it called, like traditions are based in like paganism, but one of the things they tried to say was they brought up like one of their sorry dude, you caught me at a random time.
It's okay, man. You want to come back in later? You want to just take a break, gather your thoughts, we'll bring you right back up. Rarez, what's up, man?
Jesus wasn't crucified on a cross. That's their biggest one.
Yeah, but this is a good thing to point out that like a lot of the things that Jehovah's Witnesses think are quote pagan, they kind of have a word concept fallacy thing going on where they think that something that comes from a culture that is perhaps pagan makes all of those things pagan. So for example, the days of the week, right? They're related, or the months, they're related to gods and deities of Rome. Or if you wear a wedding ring, that's pagan because people in Rome did it and they were pagan. This is silly, right? Because it's a difference between a pagan culture, which elements of the culture can be baptized, versus things that are idolatrous. So as Orthodox, we don't want to be involved in anything that's idolatrous, but there's many, many things in pagan culture that's perfectly fine and can be baptized because things in themselves are good. There's no such thing as a thing that is inherently evil.
Except for the word father. Obviously, that's intrinsically evil.
Oh, well, according to some of these evangelicals, yeah. I remember this. There was a guy recently that was an evangelical dude was like, call no man father. I was like, how do you keep the 10 Commandments? And he's like, that's different. Okay. So it doesn't mean call no man father, right? Like you can qualify it. What's up, man? Rarez, what's up?
Hi. I've watched a live stream of yours like last year, and I can't really find it anymore. I don't know if it's a members only video now. You were talking about the Frankfurt School and all the weirdos like Wilhelm Reich.
Yeah. I think
yeah.
I made that one private. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
What about it?
I was thinking like
You were just trying to find it.
Yeah, because I thought maybe YouTube took it down because it's kind of a sensitive topic.
That's possible. Honestly, there's so many live streams I don't remember anymore. But I know that one of the ones that's public where I talked about Wilhelm Reich is I think the one called The Psychology of the Left. And I did get into Frankfurt School in that one. I think that one is still up, but you might not have been able to find it just because it doesn't say Frankfurt School in the title. So let's see if I can find it. For Psychology of the Left, J. Dyer. I might pull it up. Yeah, it's these two right here do touch on that. But it also might be in the second part for members too. I don't remember. So there's The Secret Philosophy of the Left and Its Technique, and The Psychology of the Left, History and Analysis. Both of those do touch on Wilhelm Reich and his role in the sexual revolution and the Frankfurt School.
Oh, great. Also, I wanted to say that the Roman Catholic Church is actually very traditional and based, because they're upholding the ancient Greco-Roman tradition of having gay sex and stuff like that.
Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, we're overlooking this line of argumentation that there's trad butt sex. There's trad touching of butts that's being overlooked here. And in fact, there was a guy that called in defending Julius Evola as based and trad. And I was like, yeah, the based trad version of Greco-Roman homoeroticism is just like people can't respond. They can't deal with this level of argumentation. So they're having to go towards liberal queer theory and not trad queer theory. And that's a great point. That's a joke, by the way. Ali Train, what's up, man? Guys, if you want to support the stream, you can do so through super chats. We noticed on the other night's live stream that I didn't start getting super chats until I started roasting you guys in the audience. When I started roasting you guys and calling you pores like Tom Segura, that's ironically when you guys started super chatting. So I'm going to just start roasting everybody as the pores in the chat. And I'm gonna go full Tom Segura, and that's when you guys start throwing in the money. That's human like reverse psychology, dude. That's how it works. They're like, because then what happens is they want to prove that they're not in the pores, and so they start super chatting me to prove that no, actually I've got extra cash, bro. Check out how much I'm gonna super chat you right now. Reverse psychology.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, dog?
How are you doing? All right. So, would you mind? I want to get your idea on a little bit on changing images of man, if that's possible.
Sure. Yeah. We just covered it.
Yeah. So I actually got my hands on the physical copy of the book, which was kind of surprising, and I got it at my school library, which I was really, really surprised they had it. And dude, yeah, let me tell you, those things are barren. These shelves, nothing. But right now I'm graduating, and I've realized that really the big issue with school is the whole idea of nobody understands even their own worldview paradigm. And as I was just skimming through the book a little bit, I noticed that on page 142, they talked about the cultural transformation and through crisis. And then they talk about then in the next page through the conceptual revolution of science and through the concept of May's way. And it's literally that. They're literally just talking about how, it's, we're just going to change everyone's worldview in order to effect all these changes and everything. And now, kind of reading that and like self-examining the past and my education, or if you would even call that education, I'm like, what the hell? I didn't really learn much. All the learning that I really got was either through me actively pursuing and trying to find the truth myself outside of school. And I was never really challenged within school, except if I try to maybe have a debate with someone, but that was sometimes just like, you never get anywhere because nobody wants to argue worldviews. And I just realized, I think that's my biggest critique. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think that, you know, college academia education is, for the most part, unless you're in some sort of like private school or Catholic school setting that's like, you know, based around the classics or classical pedagogy or classical education, like most of what you're getting, it's not that it's totally wrong or totally bad, but you know, I was doing grad stuff about 10 years ago, and even at that time, like it was already getting pretty heavy with the lib stuff, the woke stuff. It wasn't totally woke like I think it probably is now, but it was like a good ways there. So I would imagine, I'll put it this way. I would say when I was there, it was probably, if I was to gauge it, like 50% good education, no, 60% good education, 40% kind of lib brainwashing. And I would bet by now it's probably 70-30, but I'm just guessing.
It's bad. It's
Yeah.
bad. I'll give you a quick example. One time I had a debate because I was explaining to someone how it's inherently contradictory for Mamdani to be a Muslim or claim to be a Muslim and also support the Skittles stuff
Right.
all at the same time. And they were confused. And then they asked me if I had views on how it works in Christianity. And I gave them the Orthodox perspective, essentially. And I was even debating this. There was a trans person in front of me talking about this. I don't know if this was dumb or brave, but for me to do this in front of them. But like, everyone was worried about, because it was me and 3 other people, all they were worried about was whether I fit their definition of homophobic rather than trying to understand.
Yeah, they don't care about your argument, dude. It's all about like, it's a cult, dude. It's like you're dealing with a cult. You're not dealing with people that are trying to figure out logic and reasoning.
And I told them, I was like, guys, I gave you my definition of homophobic, and they gave me theirs, and I told them, we're at an impasse. We're not going to get anywhere until we examine each other's worldview.
And you're spot on, dude, because look, you're trying to reason with people that have been given over to a debased mind and have forfeited their reasoning. That's the problem here. So we're not at a point where, we're going to reason these people back into the right positions, right? I'm talking about those people. There are still people that you can reason with. I'm not saying that it's total, right? There are people who are willing to learn, want to learn, but when it comes to like mainstream education, being in that system, again, unless you're like in Father Deacon Ananias's class, which is probably not most people, right? In terms of academia, most professors are probably pretty bad, would be my guess. You're not dealing with people who want logic, reasoning, and who want truth. Remember, this is a key point. Many people, especially as things get worse and worse, they actually don't want what's true. They actually want to fight against what's true. That's a really crucial insight into, I think, human psychology. And, you know, when you're young, you think, I'll reason with these people, I'll debate them into the truth. And then as you debate throughout your 20s and into your 30s, you start to realize a lot of people don't want the truth. And there's no argument that I'm going to present that's going to convince everybody. And it's not because of a lack of evidence or a failure in your argumentation. Oftentimes, it's actually because, again, remember back to the beginning of the talk today, we were talking about ransom. C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy, Volume 3. What's Professor Ransom? Not Ransom. I said Ransom. Mark. I'm getting Ransom mixed up with Ransom is supposed to be C.S. Lewis talking about Tolkien. Ransom is based on Tolkien. Mark is the character in Volume 3 who intentionally chooses the evidence that he wants to be true. So he has in his life a bunch of evidences that point to the organization that he's a part of being basically Tavistock, being the bad guys. And he's also got evidences that he thinks, well, but they're also trying to do good things, and they told me that they're good and their intentions are good. So I'm going to choose the evidences that make me part of a good thing, and I'm going to ignore the massive amounts of evidences that make me part of a conspiracy against humanity. And when he has his conversion realization experience, he admits it wasn't a problem of evidences. I was intentionally ignoring the evidences and choosing the other counter evidences, which were minimal, that confirm my biases. So confirmation bias, etc.
You know, another thing with changing images of man and people, the like Gregory Bateson with cybernetics and things like that.
By the way, Bateson has cited a bunch in the book. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I have a copy of it too. And the changing of words in general, like just for instance, the caller inner, he just said trans person. Well, like 20 years ago, nobody used that word, and the changing of descriptives and linguistics to confuse people, and then like they even touch on that in 1984 with the constant updating of like
the terms, the appropriate PC terms.
It confuses not only like normie people, it confuses us because we, in order to be able to communicate to people, you have to adopt the words too, even though you know that's not the correct term. You would say, 20, 25 years ago, hey, a man who thinks he's a woman is crazy. Now it's a trans person. You see?
Right. Yeah, the words are intimately tied into the social engineering, and that's what you understand when you get into these high-level Tavistock type people, and that's exactly what's changing images of man. It's SRI, which is Tavistock connected, and that's exactly what Orwell was trying to pin down in 1984.
Yeah, because he knew that. That was going on even back then.
Right.
That they knew if they changed the way of communication and the adoption of like, oh, let's normalize something that's weird, and how do we do that? Well, we'll just change the name of it and we'll start calling it something else that people would, in their minds, start thinking it was normal.
And I want to remind everybody, if you're interested in the second half of the analysis of changing image of man, we finally did get to it. We finally covered it. And that was the stream a couple days ago, or one day ago here. Thanksgiving week with Kat Von D, Dirt Poor Robbins, and the $2,000 book you're not supposed to read. That is the part 2 of changing images of man. Let's see. Jerry Art, what's up, man? Jerry, what's up? Unmute, man. Jerry Art, unmute.
Hello.
Hey.
So there's a Greek archdiocese near me, and considering the recent events, if they do like separate from the rest of the church, their sacraments won't be valid, right?
Yeah, when there's an excommunication, a separation at that point, if you were to come to, say, a ROCOR church or whatever, they would not accept the baptism or whatever if it took place after the official removal or separation.
Right. I mean, this archdiocese is in Australia. It's not in America, but
well,
I have to talk to the priest.
Yeah, that won't matter though, because like you might, for example, go. Let's say you went to a Greek church and they did not go along with a false union, you would be fine.
Okay. So how likely do you think the Greek church is to separate from the rest of the Orthodox Church?
It's hard to say. It's probably pretty likely though, because it doesn't look like, it's basically subservient to the State Department. So he's going to do whatever he's told to do. It's not about like the theology. People think this is all about, who's got the right theology. Yeah. Theology is secondary. It's all geopolitics.
Yeah. And the other thing too is that I agree with Jay. It's definitely likely. The question is, and we know that there's going to be an apostasy and a union. Right? We just don't know when. So is it likely really soon? And, I just want to encourage everybody. Everybody's filled with fear. I'm optimistic about. We're told, prophecies by the saints, and
yeah, right.
I don't lose any sleep over this. Like, I know that it's going to be fine. Like, and that's just that, these things happen. We're told they're going to happen. I doubt anything is. I shouldn't say I doubt. I wouldn't say it's highly likely that this is going to happen right now. It could just be all kind of fluff working towards that. But it's nothing to lose sleep over. And people are like really worried and upset. Like, don't let it worry you.
you'll be fine. Like we have 14 different patriots.
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 They're all MAGA. We got 14 patriots. They're all MAGA. Listen, they're all MAGA, probably all 14 patriots. Yes. Probably the best patriots out there, all of my favorite patriarchs.
Yeah. It's from the College of Apostles. But I mean, look, just look at it. It's like not everybody's good. Russ was definitely not going to go along with that. For Georgia, if this were to happen, it's hard to say about Antioch. Antioch is base, but what people don't realize is they're under the yoke of and threat of the CIA and State Department because they control Al Qaeda. So notice how Al Qaeda now is under control of the CIA and in Syria, and everything's fine.
Yeah, CIA, like you said, CIA could say, sure you don't want ISIS coming in on your your ISIS, Antioch churches there?
Yeah, I mean ISIS, yeah, exactly. So everybody's like, oh, I'm interested. I'm like, don't be so naive and like you said, Jay, everybody thinks whether it's politics or the church at the lowest level, well, it's just about theology. And see, their theology, it's like, it's geopolitics first.
Yeah, for the power elite, theology is secondary. That's just a tool that can be sort of attached onto the soft power, or even perhaps the hard power, if it's like if there was like an actual al-Nusra ISIS type of an attack. But they're all pretty much the same anyway, like ISIS, Al Qaeda, al-Nusra. They're all just rebrands of the same stuff, and they are all allied with Israel and the CIA. So openly, by the way. Just look up Timber Sycamore. That was all declassified recently. That's the CIA $1 billion project to overthrow Assad and put Jolani in, and then Jolani is invited to Washington, D.C. to meet with the rabbis and Trump and all these people.
Was it you or was it Kotel that was playing that stream of that Jewish guy just basically saying like, yeah, we control
me? You're talking about the Al Jazeera interview with the former head of Mossad saying that,
No, he looked like a younger guy. He was like I don't know if he was a young rabbi or something like this.
Oh, maybe it was Kotel then.
Yeah, I'll have to find it. It was actually, I'm like, they're just saying it right there. Like, why are people giving us a hard time? Like, that's crazy.
Well, the other thing too is, look, about this false union, like people are saying in the chat, most of the people who are laity that we've met over the last several years that are serious about their faith, but they don't want this. Nobody wants this. The only people that want this would be like corrupt ecumenist bishops and people that are in sort of political positions that are like the archons or whatever, that are putting pressure for this for their own personal reasons. So the people that actually care about the theology are absolutely not going to go along with this. So the good thing about this is that this is like a winnowing fan that will separate the wheat from the chaff. And you'll notice the people that go along with it are a bunch of people who are going to want all the fake and gay stuff, like the literal fake and gay stuff. So it's a good thing. This is like cleaning the house. Yeah, go to Rome. Like this will actually show like who the serious people and the fake people are. So now I'm not saying it's good to have we don't want that. Like, but at the same time, it's like God's chastisements bring the division, the good division, separating the wheat from the chaff. That's a good division. So the people who are ecumenists, by the way, they act like all division is bad. Oh, well, that's not biblical, because God says all the time, I will separate the wheat from the chaff. I have a remnant that have not bowed the knee to Baal. So it sounds to me like division in many cases is actually good. But these people play word games and act like, oh, division is bad. They're so divisive. Oh, J. Dyer. Oh, Father Hears. Oh, so the Metropolitans of Rocor. They're all divisive. Father Ananias is a divisive person. Well, if you're dividing about something good, that's actually a good thing. Sometimes you need to divide. That's what these people are just retarded about. But guys, go ahead.
Remember too,
go ahead, John.
You brought this up in your second part of the Changing Images of Man. Is one of the key components of the future is going to be what? World Council of Churches.
Exactly. There's a whole section on World Council of Churches, and the creation of a new world religion. Exactly. The new world religion is perennialism. Why perennialism? Well, that's the religion that ultimately can combine all the religions and thus overcome divisiveness. Exactly. But by the way, talk to our boy Seaton over at Chalk. I've got good news. Seaton has granted me a papal indulgence to give you guys a vast discount, 60% off. Yes, you heard me right. It is becoming a Christmas present of toxic masculinity right now, unfolding on this live stream. If you head on over to chalk.com, use the promo code J60Life. That's JAY60 Life. J60 Life, 60% off all Chalk products. If you have a 44% recurring, cancel that, redo your membership as J60 Life, and you get 60% off all of the Chalk products. You can't beat that. And this is a special Christmas indulgence from the Pope of Chalk, Seaton himself, only on Jay's Analysis, only on my channel do you get this special J60 Life. That's JY60 Life. Look in the show description, get that link. It has the promo code J60 Life right there. Shout out to Seaton for his based massive Chalk indulgences for this Jubilee pontificate. I'm trying to figure out a Chalk Pope joke, but I can't think of anything. So
you should do a J60th joke. J6.
Oh, are you trying to get my stream taken down? Hush up now. Drew.
I bet if you guys took this stuff, you'd stop being so scared.
No. Well, as people in the chat are saying, the pores are winning now.
What?
The pores. You don't know. So I made this joke on the stream the other night because there was a lot of people in the chat didn't know this. So the famous comedian Tom Segura, once he got really kind of big and popular, he started getting kind of snooty with his audience and calling them pores. And his whole audience turned on him. And so now every time he goes on a podcast, all the comments are people making fun of him and just saying, we're so blessed as a member of the pores to be able to hear, Tom Segura's comedy or whatever. So now I started making jokes because they weren't commenting. They weren't super chatting. I was calling everybody the pores because they didn't super chat. So they were having to prove that they weren't pores by commenting, by super chatting. So shout out to all the pores, the Chad pores in the audience. You guys get a special 60% discount at chalk.com with J60 Life for 60% off all your Christmas toxic masculinity needs. Drew, what's up? Unmute.
Yo, what up, Jay?
Well, people in the chat are saying, how do I call in? Well, you call in through Twitter. So here's the link right here. It's in the show description. Call in there on the X Space. What's on your mind, Drew?
I don't know if you've heard, but Ibarra is completely swagger jacking you, and he has started doing impressions.
Impressions of what? Cupcakes and ho-hos and ding-dongs?
He leaves them in the ground when he walks.
Oh, that was a pretty good zinger there. That did not go the direction I thought. That was funny.
Yeah. Have you read, I read a book a while back and started listening to you. It reminded me of it. Have you read The Forgotten 500?
No, what is that?
It's about, it's not like a super textual book. It's just kind of a story about rescuing downed U.S. airmen in Yugoslavia during World War II. But it's pretty interesting because it talks about the battling factions between, OSS and MI6 type guys that are. It's Mihailovic, and it's about the rise to power of Tito, and it talks about. And MI5 guys like actually trying to kill each other because they're trying to, promote communism there.
Nice. Tell me exactly. I'm writing down the title. Tell me it again.
The Forgotten 500. It's more than.
You're cutting out, so I'm gonna appreciate that. Forgotten 500. Yeah, I like anything to do with OSS type stuff and MI6, so I will definitely get a hold of that. Appreciate that. If you get a better connection, you want to make more points,
what's funny?
feel free to call back in.
There's a channel that just plays like nonstop James Bond, so I've been binging on that.
Oh, like the films?
Yeah, although like every single one, like I'll fall asleep to it just watching. The old ones, all the different.
Yeah.
Cool.
I have a book called Esoteric Hollywood. You should check it out. Because I write about. There's a whole like 80 pages on the James Bond.
You don't knock it off, I'm gonna ban you.
So here's what I was referring to for people that don't get this joke. Here's this.
Actually a clip from the show went viral.
Yeah.
That was about washcloths. Like it was everywhere. It was on World Star. It was on Black Culture News. I got tagged fucking 10,000 times.
So this, on the one hand, it's kind of unfair. I mean, I've never actually listened to Tom Segura's comedy, so I don't even know if he's funny. But he's more known now for this viral thing. Oh my gosh, this spam calls are driving me crazy. He's more known for this sort of viral thing now, which is unfortunate if you're like a stand-up, how easily you could be sort of quasi-canceled. However, he didn't handle this right because he like went in a worse direction with sort of, it was probably meant to be a joke initially, calling people the pores. Like he probably meant it in a jokey way. Let's see what he says, but it backfired.
And it was from an episode that was actually had already aired like a few weeks or a month prior or something. And people snipped this clip of us talking about washcloths being for pores.
This morning, I washed my legs.
Because it sounds like a joke, right? Like, oh, you have a washcloth? Are you one of the pores? And then it's like everybody like tried to cancel him with us.
And my feet in the shower.
Did you really?
Yeah. So I'm opposed to it still.
Okay.
Did you try it even yet?
No, I'm not going to do it.
Well, you're just anti.
I'm not
leg
black. No, I don't think it's a black thing. I think using a washcloth is for poor people, but I don't think that washing your legs and feet is for black people.
I agree. I think the washcloth is a poor person thing. Because
I've only met pores who use them. What's funny is that it started, I think you go, do you wash your legs and feet? I go, no, I'm not black. Because on a previous episode, we talked about who washes their legs and feet, and I think it was only Annie that said he did.
See, that's in the context of comedy, which is kind of unfortunate. Now, again, he probably was being a douchebag about it, but like that is kind of funny, actually.
But he wasn't there that day. Clearly.
Well, and he's
the only one here who took the day off. Washes his legs and feet, making a shout out to Annie, but he wasn't there. Anyway, this clip, I was like, in the clip, I go, no, I don't think it's for, but I do think it's for pores. I go, I think, poor people use washcloths. And, dude, it went everywhere. And a lot of people commented. I mean, a lot. Notable people, like rappers, actors, activists.
So here's the crazy thing about it. And again, I'm not saying that Tom Segura wasn't being a douchebag about it. The crazy thing is that you can now cancel people with an out of context clip of 10 seconds that goes viral. And then like all of the masses of people, they don't go double check to see if it's accurate. They just go by that. And again, and I have plenty of criticism with Trump, but they did this with Trump. Remember with his, the comments about him supporting the people at Charlottesville, that was out of context. Trump hates Mexicans. That's out of context. What?
Well, it's the perspicuity of clips. It's the clips just say what they
mean what they say, and they say what they mean, right?
Why would we need context and look further? This is perspicuity of clips.
Well, I've had it happen a couple times. Like so far, nobody has like clipped me out of context, but I'm sure like if Lord willing, the audience continues to grow, I'm sure that's going to happen where they're going to find some old clip of me being, acting retarded. And they'll be, look at this guy. He's gay. Look, he's gay. He makes a gay joke. He says he's gay right here.
big time blacks. Like,
Big time?
yeah.
Big time.
The Game.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I even know who that is. I
Yeah.
know who that is.
Yeah. He was like, these motherfuckers smell like hot dog water.
That's amazing.
Can I tell you the only like super disappointing thing?
Yeah.
A couple of comedians were like, what's this all about? And I'm like, you don't
rat out.
No, like you don't I don't even want to explain it. Like you don't see what's going on. Like you don't follow this.
Yeah, super lame.
I mean, the next sentence I was like, I've ended friendships over washcloths. Like, I've ended friendships when I saw washcloths. I'm serious.
It's so weird to be able to cancel people just by a little clip that goes viral and everyone just assumes like, oh yeah, that person is evil now. But now he may have been a douchebag about his poor's comment, but like everybody went like crazy with this.
Well, I made a joke. Well, they're probably going to clip me. I made jokes about how poverty is the solution to everything. It's like you can't afford rent. Well, poverty, you won't have to worry about it. You worrying about social, political poverty. You won't be worrying about. I mean, we could go through the list of like how much things poverty actually solves, which is interesting because it's the inverse of the leftoid. Lift everybody out of poverty. I got the idea that I'm like, well, wait a minute, it's actually backwards. We wouldn't have any problems. Do you think that we'd have any problems with immigration if everybody was poor? Nobody would want to come here. Like, think about it. It's really good. Now, somebody's going to clip that, and I'm going to be out of here.
Oh, by the way, yeah, somebody had a good point. No, the Diamond Brothers actually clipped you out of context. That's correct. They did. They took a picture of me being a metalhead on a stream, and they said I was being a transvestite because I had a wig on. It's
No,
like,
my favorite
dude, that's
one
so
is-
stupid.
My favorite one from the Diamond Brothers is the Orthodox were responsible for Pearl Harbor.
Are you being serious?
You didn't see, unless somebody was joking. It was in our
I
mob
don't.
chat.
I don't watch any of their stuff. I didn't see that.
Hey, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for having me on, Jay.
Thank you, FTA. Appreciate you. Evaristo, what's up, dog? You want to unmute?
Yeah, of course. Hey, Jay. So I recently got a Orthodox study Bible, and in one of the passages, they were talking about how they correlate Ezekiel 44 and the Eastgate passage to Mary.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just wondering, how did they translate the literal brick and mortar temple to Mary, and how do they explain the part where he's going to exit the same way he came in if he entered spiritually and exited earthly?
I mean, the temple itself isn't a real temple. It's a temple that's spiritual. It's another image of the church. A lot of biblical symbols are multivalent. So it's not Mary or the church, it's both. So the temple in Ezekiel and the temple in the book of Revelation are both the church, and they can also be an image of Mary herself, because Jesus says, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will rebuild it. So the temple can also be an image of Jesus's own physical body. So it's both and, right? So he comes into the temple, Mary as the temple, and he exits the temple as the Son of God. So it's not spiritual or physical, it's both. He comes into Mary as the Son of God, breathed by the Holy Spirit. He takes on flesh from Mary. He gets his human nature from her. And then he exits her in the sense of the virgin birth without her losing her virginity. Thus, she's ever virgin. So it's a both and you'll notice that a lot of biblical symbology operates that way. I see some dude is laughing hard. What's up, dude? What's so funny? We haven't had any disagreeers yet today. Where are the disagreeers at? Sensei, do you disagree? I see you. Every time somebody like is hitting the emoji, like spurging out with the emoji, I know they got an issue. Unmute. Sensei, unmute. Are you there? It's funny, the first thing Kat Von D said to me when we went over to her place was she was like, I was listening to your open calls. Those people are so dumb. I was like, all right, you're cool. I like you already. That was like the first thing she said. What's up, Sensei? Are you there? She was talking about the average sort of like disagree or debate callers. She wasn't talking about literally everybody on there. It was just a funny comment. That was like the first thing she said. Hi, Nini. What's up, dude?
Hello?
Yo, what's up?
Yo, can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, thank you. Your space keeps on cutting out, by the way. I don't know why. But,
It's because of a stupid ass spam call. There's a spam call that keeps coming through. Go ahead.
oh, okay, cool. First of all, thank you for your content. I really do enjoy it. I was watching, your Trinity in the Old Testament you did a year ago. It was really interesting as well.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask, so I come from I guess, Protestant background. In one of your lives, you spoke about how it's heretical to say that Christ died for our sins or something like that. I can't remember it
What?
fully. You said, in his human nature, to be clear, or something like that. I couldn't remember it properly. But I guess, how would it be?
Of course, Christ died for our sins. I don't know what you mean. He did everything that he did. He did it in both natures at once. It's not. I mean, the divinity is impassible. The divine nature doesn't suffer. The suffering that occurs is the divine person of the Word undergoes the severance of his human soul from his human body. That's death.
Okay. I think next time I should have got the exact.
That's okay.
The exact quote for it. So in the Orthodox position, could you just flesh it out to me a bit more? How it actually works.
By the way, to the people in the chat, Kat Von D was not calling everybody dumb. Man, people are so freaking sensitive and retarded, dude. She's talking about the people that call in to debate are dumb. Not every caller. So what exactly do you want to get specific about? What happens on the cross or what?
Just about the Orthodox position, about like how salvation works.
I mean, I've got a bunch of videos on that would kind of flesh it out in more detail. I'm not going to like rehearse all of that at once, but I mean, essentially the divine person of the Word assumes human nature to destroy the power of death over that fallen nature by going into Hades and dispelling the devil of the power that he had over death and Hades by taking that back, resurrecting that nature and deifying it such that by participating in his deified flesh through the Eucharist, we can overcome the passions and attain to the resurrection.
Okay. And that does make sense. Another one I did have about.
By the way, the best thing I would say, the best thing on that topic in toto that I've done is actually if you go to my page and you scroll down on my YouTube channel to the very bottom, there's an entire playlist where I work through John Damascus. St. John Damascus is on the Orthodox faith. So it's called Traditional Philosophy and Metaphysics. If you start here and you work all the way over here to about 8 episodes in, that covers the totality of all that stuff.
Okay, cool. Okay, I will check that out. Thank you for that.
Sure.
I just wanted to ask about tongues as well. So I guess growing up for like 10 years, roughly 10 years, I always thought, tongues was the, I guess, not to be rude to anyone, but I guess the gibberish that we see in Pentecostal churches. But that, for me as well, reading scripture, I see it's not the case. So do you think that, I guess, the tongues when it comes to foreign languages has ceased altogether, or do you still see that in the Orthodox Church?
No, I mean, it's like we have a guy in our church that knows multiple languages. He is blessed with the gift of tongues.
Oh, okay. So it's not like an outbreak, like
No.
like how it happens at Pentecost.
Well, Pentecost isn't gibberish or quote angel language, which would be totally pointless. Because no humans know angel language, so there'd be no point in people speaking gibberish angel language. But no, it's known language. The miracle of Pentecost is everyone hearing the gospel in their native tongue.
Right. Okay.
So it's a known language. It's not unknown, and that's the nonsense that the charismatics come up with.
Yeah. Okay.
So tongues is languages, and that's why it's a and it has to be rational and coherent because it's the reversal of Babel. So if you go to the Pentecostal liturgy in the Orthodox Church, the liturgy itself stresses that it's the reversal of the confusion of Babel. Ernesto, what's up, man? But by the way, shout out to all all the clips channels, because they're actually clipping together really good, key, crucial stuff so that people don't have to spend forever searching for example, what is the explanation of tongues? Well, Dyer Central has a great collation that they've done right here 6 months ago on charismatic Pentecostal. Here's a charismatic debate refuted. Here's J. Dyer refutes. So it turns out now that all these clips channels are just like clips maxing in an awesome way. Here's a whole 50,000 4-hour stream refuting charismatic stuff. So be sure and go check out the refutation of this stuff on these streams. The clips channels have made it very easy. And by the way, also a fascinating development. Kyle is handing over Dyer clips to me. And what's interesting about Dyer clips that I didn't know, and this is pretty wild. The only reason Kyle's doing that is that, shout out to Kyle, he's married and having his first child on the way. So as a man, he is now birthing a man baby. He's having a butt baby because he's a man giving birth to, and I'm joking, he's married to a girl, and they're now having their first child. Turns out when Kyle was in college, he would, like, every few nights listen to a live stream and create a clip. Kyle has scheduled clips every month until 2030. I was blown away. I was like, dude, are you serious? Like, you did all this work? And he didn't even monetize it, which is because when I was demonetized, I told Kyle that you can't monetize it, because if YouTube thinks that it's my channel, they'll delete my channel. But now that we're remonetized, we're going to monetize it, and I will give Kyle a cut because of all his hard work. But I mean, talk about like a dedicated, disciplined dude. Like, who clips to 2030 and schedules it every month until 2030? I was like, Kyle, that's awesome, man. So everybody should be go follow Kyle, because that's pretty awesome, and go follow Dyer Clips, because nobody even has to do anything until 2030, because Dyer Clips will have clips until 2030. What's up, Ernesto?
Hey, Jay. Hey, man, I had a quick question for you. And it's a question about the Eucharist. And I wanted to get your take, because I was having a back and forth with a friend of mine, and he's arguing basically that when in the Eastern Orthodox religion, when it talks about the bread and wine becoming the flesh and blood of Christ, it's an actual flesh, like physically so, and it's an actual blood. And the way I'm interpreting, like from John of Damascus, is like he's physically present. It's an actual thing, but it's not. It doesn't biologically or like structurally.
Yeah, it's a mystery. It's a mystery, and that's why the liturgy says the rational bloodless sacrifice. So it's not re-sacrificing Christ as if there's a bunch of like actual blood that's going to pour out. It is the real presence of Christ. It is his true deified flesh present, but it is not a re-sacrificing of Christ. Hence this rational bloodless offering, as the priest says in the liturgy. Great question. Eliasha? Really, the only way to understand the Eucharist is through the essence-inner distinction. And I think this is one of the strongest arguments that you know, especially towards a Catholic, like, I mean, you guys believe in, you know, created supernatural grace, whatever that is. What's up?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
Great. I just want to start by saying thanks for all your content. It's been really informational and, yeah, it completely changed me and my husband's outlook on Christianity. We've been Protestants our whole life, so thanks for that. I wanted to ask you specifically, like, we're looking to go to an Orthodox church, but there's like 4 different ones in the closest city. So I guess my question is, like, how do I parse out which church is not compromised? I guess I don't know really anything about the Orthodox Church, But I've been seeing the
Yeah, what I would do,
stigmatic
right?
stuff.
What I would do is visit them all, and you'll get a sense of which one is like, the right fit for you. And if you hear just non-Bayes stuff, you'll know, okay, this is not a good Orthodox church. But it tends to be the case that Rokor, Serbs, Antiochians, Romanians, they tend to be more on the Bayes side versus the non-Bayes. But again, there can be good OCA parishes, there can be good Greek parishes. It really just depends on it's not so much a jurisdictional issue. I mean, it is somewhat, but it's more so a local issue because you can have a Rokor church that's bad. I mean, there's bad people everywhere. So, yeah, just go to them all, and then give it some time and see which one vibes with you the best. Jerry, what's up? So, Hush Tone says for $10, people turned on Tom Segura because they were clowning on him about his complaints about Starbucks, and him complaining about expensive cars. Then he went on a rant calling everybody in his fan base the pores. Okay, I didn't know that part. I thought it was just like a joke within the podcast about washcloths, but apparently he doubled down on the pores. What's up, Jerry? Do you want to unmute?
Yeah, sorry, I just had one more question. If it's too spiritual, just let me know. But so near me, there's the Greek Archdiocese and the Coptic Church. I already know that you don't think the Coptics have valid sacraments because they're non-Chalcedonian.
Wait, what?
Well, the Coptics are non-Chalcedonian, so I'm assuming you don't think the sacraments are valid.
Well, validity is more of a Roman Catholic concept. We just talk about whether they're efficacious or not. And no, we don't think that the sacraments are efficacious.
Okay. So would the efficaciousness have any effect on the sanctification effect?
Yeah, they're not efficacious. You can't do the Orthodox liturgy or sacraments without the blessing, for example, of an Orthodox priest or bishop, right? So in other words, in the Orthodox Church, like if an Orthodox priest went to do the divine liturgy, but he didn't have the blessing of the bishop, it's not an Orthodox liturgy. So if that's true within the church, it's much more true outside of the church. Roman Catholics don't have the blessing of an Orthodox bishop to do their liturgy, so it's not a liturgy.
Yep. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to the priest at the Greek church to see what side he's leaning with the whole reunion thing going on. But if he does so happen to move towards like the reunion side, I'll be like away from churches that have efficacious sacraments. So,
I would not worry about that too much because like Tristan's in a similar situation in Ecuador, and all that's around him is Roman Catholic churches. But Tristan was able still to be baptized by a Serbian Orthodox priest that was 8 hours away. So if Tristan can arrange being baptized by somebody 8 hours away, everybody can do it. And if you can't, do the best you can. Like we're not psycho freaks. Like God knows your heart, knows your intention. If you're doing the best you can, that's all you can do. Into the furnace. What's up, man? I still was trying to figure out exactly what the drama is.
Oh, it'll be interesting to watch Tom Segura try to avoid becoming the next Brendan Schaub. And you can tell he's definitely aware of the growing sentiment towards him. And I think he realized trying to dismiss the criticism as people just being losers and pores probably isn't the best idea. I mean, still, whenever he does a podcast appearance, the top comment will be somebody making fun of him for either his airport meltdown or just a comment referencing the pores. So I think the pores definitely got the best of him. And now Tom knows being some arrogant, elitist, rich guy in comedy doesn't work very well.
Yeah, I mean, comedy has to appeal to the working class, or else it's not going to work, right? I mean, that was a huge blunder if that's what he did, according to Hush. I mean, I'm not saying Hush Tones is wrong. I'm just saying I haven't really kept up with this. I just remember hearing that there was some sort of drama over calling people the pores. By the way, I'm obviously this audience is smart enough to know that I'm joking when I say everyone's pores. By the way, in order to prove that you're not part of the pores, you must super chat because we only have a small amount of super chat revenue today. And I can't keep going if you guys don't support me in super chat. Get a real job, says the boomer. What made you think that live streaming was not a real job? Zorab says for $2.50, Jay, no one should terrify their neighbor. Jay will not be undone. He's playing pranks on everyone. There we go. He gets it. Jonas, $10. Thank you for what you've done. All this work. It helped me with upcoming questions. I'm becoming catechumen. I told my atheist dad the other day that he was furious because of bad experiences with my mom due to coming from a Jehovah's Witness family. I pray for him. Yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses can really damage people, I think. You know, Kurt Metzger was raised Jehovah's Witness, and I think that's one of the reasons that it's been difficult to get through to Kurt with things like the deity of Christ and the Trinity is because of that Jehovah's Witness upbringing. So it can definitely make things difficult. Into the furnace, unmute.
Hey Jay, two quick questions, man. One is I'm working on a book and a project about kind of like Mossad, CIA, classic KGB subversion in the church. I've noticed that there's a pretty big lack of people kind of going into, the influence of the occult, the 19th century, going into the 20th century of the church. Just kind of curious, have you come across any good material that I could probably use that's not too conspiratorial and sort of like kind of outlandish and crazy, but maybe something that's more rooted and maybe a little bit more of like a, something that's been like verified, kind of like well-researched?
Yeah, the two books I mentioned at the beginning, Errand into the Wilderness by Mago Graziano and David Wimhoff's book on John Courtney Murray.
Perfect. Second question real quick. This one might be a little bit of a deeper question, but I recently read a book by Ivan Alexandrovich Ilvin, I guess. He's a Russian guy, but the name of the book is On Resistance to Evil
Ivan
by
Ilyin.
Force. Yeah, what's your take on that?
I've not read that book yet, but I've read a lot of his essays because Mark Hackard has translated a bunch of his essays, but I do eventually intend to get to it. Rostco. I'm eating a cough drop because I'm sick, you guys. What do you think it is? It's not drugs. I'm eating drugs. Unmute, dude. What's up? Rostco. Mark Rothko, what's up? Okay, don't unmute. I don't care. Don't unmute. Whatever. Stevie K, $3. Jay, I'm trying to change my set of Acontis dad's position. He's in the CMRI. Uh-oh. It has an insane history, which I pointed out. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, what are the best arguments against the Sedas? John Pontrello's book, The Set of Acontis Delusion. So we helped John Pontrello come out of Seda and become Orthodox. His book is a classic. Midwest Convert, $3. I also did a talk on the book. There's a park in my neighborhood. It's called Dyer Field. It makes me think about you, but not in a homo way. Good. Keep that shit straight, dude. Austin, $5. The Treasury of Merits is not talked about enough. It is a ridiculous Catholic teaching. Absolutely it is. And it's part of their dogma too. And it's in Denzinger, clear as day. But you'll notice none of the Roman Catholics talk about this. It's an easy defeater, dude. It's like there's all of these overlooked defeaters like the histrionic women saints and the Treasury of Merits, which the Pope can pull from. It's just like, what? Oh, it's a logical development out of the early canonical system. No, it's not. The Senate, $5. Do you think Catholics are going to stop using the filioque when they pray? Our Father and the Son who art in heaven. I don't get it because they don't say that. I think that's supposed to be a joke, but people were trying to make some big deal about, oh, Francis or Leo didn't say the filioque. That's just for optics, dude. Bird, $10. Can you and Tim Gordon discuss what would be required for a real reunion? It's a thought experiment. Well, actually, it's funny you said that because Tim asked me that this morning. And I cannot find my tweet where I actually listed these from several years ago. But if you read the little novella, it's not a novella, it's a letter, but it's actually a little book. from Metropolitan Seraphim Piraeus, and he's a famous trad Orthodox bishop in Greece. When Francis was elected, he wrote basically a book. Let's see if it used to be here at Orthodox Christian Information. Yeah, here it is. I think, yeah, this is it. Awesome. I thought it was, for a long time, you couldn't find this thing. This is it. So this letter is actually a really long, basically, rebuke of Vatican nonsense. And it's not just, the reason it's so good is that it also includes all the stuff you hear me talk about. All the geopolitical stuff, CIA, Davos type subversion. Like, he brings it all up. PDF stuff. And all of that concludes with, I think he lists 32 points. Let's see. I think it's at the end of the book. He even talks about Opus Dei, Vatican Bank money laundering. Look at that. So you want to call me a retarded, crazy conspiracy theorist? Well, some of the most prominent bishops in Greece actually bring up all the stuff I talk about. So you're just showing your own ignorance. Where I thought for sure, though, there it's somewhere in here, there's actually a list of 30 or 32 points. Let's see. Is it this? No, this isn't it. I know it's in here somewhere. It's like an 87-page letter. So not exactly sure where in here it is, but somewhere he lists all the like major issues.
You hit this to me, Jay. Isn't this remember JP2? He didn't say the filioque once, right?
Well, they allow the Uniates to not say it, so.
Right, but wasn't that was a geopolitical move to do that?
I think so, yeah. I think that's right. I mean, he's even calling out like the PDF stuff. Anyway, I will put this in the chat because it's a really good kind of it basically lists the major issues. And the point is that it's not like, oh, if we just, change the issue with the bread, and if we do paedo communion, and if we stop saying the filioque, then that's cool. Everything will be the same. Well, there's all these other things that can never be gotten over because they were dogmatized. Like you have, ever since the schism, all of these Roman Catholic novelties that are dogmatic, like Treasury of Merits of the Saints and all this kind of stuff. Like, it's already in Catholic dogma. You can't like delete it or get rid of it, because if you do that, you're admitting that Vatican I is false, that the papacy didn't preserve the faith, it defected. Well, if the papacy defected, then Vatican I is false. So you understand that Rome will have to like delete all these ecumenical councils. They're not going to do that. Peter, $5. I've been in GoArc for 10 years. The priest is solid. When should I leave? If there's a formal union, or when the monasteries leave, or if my metropolitan signs on? Yeah, I think those would be good public signs. Austin, Treasury of Merits is not talked about enough as a ridiculous Catholic teaching. Exactly. Tribulation Saints, $10. Jay, can you talk about this ridiculous push because of ecumenism from Catholic media that the seat of Peter and the seat of St. Andrew is a new invention? I'm not sure what Catholic media is doing with this idea of seat of Peter and seat of Andrew. But I think in the first hour we kind of talked about just the overall kind of absurdity of the ecumenism at work here. Let's Talk God, $5. When you were in RCIA, was it a woman? Actually, it wasn't. It was actually I had a pretty good Novus Ordo Parish when I converted in 2003. I mean, as Novus Ordo parishes go, it was actually pretty traditional and conservative overall. And no, the priest, who was always really cool to me, he was a nice guy, Father Victor. He did the RCIA, and he was not really any kind of lib. Jonathan Kelly, Methylene Blue Gang, let's go. Alex needs to restock that store. I have been enjoying the Methylene Blue, and when we did our conference, everybody was sort of mystified by me having all this Methylene Blue all around. I was like, it's good, dude. But it's also good to combine it with chalk.com. So head on over to chalk.com, use promo code J60Life, by the way, to get 60% off. But I'm going to have to cycle out of the Methylene Blue, because if you combine it with chalk, I think it kind of like the Tonkat at least still works, but the Methylene Blue is not really doing anything because I've been using it every day for a month. So I'm going to take a break from the Methylene Blue and then let it. I've built up a tolerance, but I've never built up a tolerance to chalk. It always works. Not dissing Methylene Blue, I'm just saying. Your X space is busted. I can't hear anything. Oh, that's because of spam. I was getting spam calls. That was Pew Place, $5. Midnight Light, $5. It was nice to meet you at the conference, Jay. I'm local to Florida. I was baptized in the Antiochian church there. What is your take on Bitcoin price long term? Well, everybody got a reprieve in this dip, and everybody's freaking, oh, it's going to zero. Well, you could have had $4,000 Bitcoin the other day, and now it's back to 90 whatever. So nobody ever listens. They always freak out. Oh, it's going to zero now because it went down 10%. Well, welcome to Bitcoin. There's always these 30% dips. So no, it's not meth. Are you serious? Methylene Blue is not meth. It's fentanyl. Just kidding. Long term, Bitcoin is going to $1 million. Extanglia, $5. If the average person is dumb, then that means half of all people are dumber than that. That is the dark truth. Brandon the Inquirer, $40. Thank you so much. I used to be Pentecostal, but I switched to the Orthodox Boxers. It was a complete game changer. Ortho Boxers. Oh, I get it. Pentecostal Boxers. I will never go back. Thank you, Brandon the Inquirer. He's doing some wordplay. V Scott, $5. Is this the after party? Yes. Welcome to the after party. Jan Ham, $1. Thank you so much. Snuggle Beast. God bless Jay. It was a wonderful experience at the conference. Thank you so much, Snuggle Beast. Glad to see you there. I had a question. Is there a way to get any of the presentations? I did audio record mine. So members to my website will get the audio of my talk. I don't know what anyone else did. So if Father Vladimir recorded it or Kotel recorded his, I have no idea. I did record mine personally, though. Emilion, shout out to Emilion, $10. Got to meet him at the conference. Super cool. We love our Serbs. Shout out to our Bays Serbs. Emilion says for $10, do not forget to give a thumbs up. Contemporary Compendium, $5. This is my meager penance, my lord. I await the Dyer brand washcloths. Every pour in the audience will receive one free branded Dyer washcloth, so that you don't smell like hot dog water. Hush Tones. Oh, we read that. Nobody, $10. I go to an OCA church. I used to be Mormon. I asked my priest how he felt about masonry. He said, you cannot be a Christian and Mason. That is correct. Sounds like a good priest. His answer made me stay at my parish. Yeah, in fact, that's usually a pretty good test, like to tell if your priest is kind of based and if he, kind of knows if he's on the right side of things. Like, does he push that Mother Teresa is a saint? Does he say that you can be Skittles? Does he like masonry? Like, those are easy, tests right there. Minor Sam, Jay, you stole $5 and called me a poor. Well, I'm just trying to do the Tom Segura model of growing your channel. Kyle Norton, $10. Hair grow. We got a Kenneth Copeland fan in the audience. Penny Wits, $2. I regretted Googling Tom Segura and the Poors. Now everybody's talking about that. I'm still not exactly 100% clear on how this all went down, but I'm sure Hush Tones is correct in the way he described it. JDM $7. JTM. Can you elaborate on the ways it's difficult for people as Jehovah's Witness to understand the Trinity? I think when you're indoctrinated from your youth into a position that's very heavily based on these either ors, it just becomes really difficult to think outside of that box. So if you've always understood, these passages in the New Testament to be Unitarian, when you start hearing challenges to that position, like your mind just sort of immediately goes into defensive mode. So I think probably for cults like Jehovah's Witnesses, it might be more effective rather than to directly attack. In some cases, it might be more effective to do like a what people call the deprogramming method. And we're not just poors, we're also dirt poor as robins. Exactly. And I had a really good conversation with Neil about this over Thanksgiving at his house, because he's actually put a lot of time into this when it comes to certain people of certain persuasions or locked into certain things that are not interested in a debate or apologetic polemic interaction. In some of those cases, it might be better for those people. And you got to have the wisdom to know what kind of person you're dealing with, right? So if you're dealing with somebody who's not going to respond to polemics or that kind of stuff, it might be better to go the route of deprogramming. And there was a guy, a psychologist dude, that somebody mentioned on a stream a while back, but I can't remember his name. And I listened to his whole talk. And he did, this dude's not Christian, but he has a pretty good approach to deprogramming from cults. If you're in the chat and you can remember this guy, let me know. I can't remember what his name was, but it was like deprogramming. And there was a specific cult that it might be Rick Ross. I can't remember. That guy might be a bit lib, though. I can't remember who it was, though. No, it's Dr. Stephen Hassan. That's it. And again, I'm not advocating this dude's worldviews or his worldview, but that's who it was. Because this dude is kind of a shit lib, but he does have a good approach to effective ways of dealing with people that are really locked into cults. But I can't find the podcast I listened to from him. It was about a specific cult. And anyway, I don't know. I've already forgotten what it was. Oh, it might be this right here. Yeah, so he talks about like Scientology here. Oh, this is trying to say MAGA is Scientology, which technically, MAGA could be cult-like. I don't necessarily disagree. But usually when people are anti-MAGA, it's like for the worst reasons. It's not for the right reasons. You know what I mean? Okay, maybe this was the one I listened to here.
Check us out at skipping.com. And if you want to support the show that way.
By the way, I'm not supporting Michael Shermer. He's obviously a lunatic. But you could probably listen to this and get some good practical advice on how to deprogram. I'm not really good at this because this is not my method. Or just ask Neil. Go ask Neil from Dirtpool Robbins about how you deprogram people, because he's all about that. But I do debates. I'm not a soft. Not that Neil's soft. Neil's actually pretty awesome at bays, but I'm saying like his approach to this is different, and it works for different people. So yeah, I'm not advocating Michael Shermer. I'm just talking about the guest. The way that he talks about come on, guys, stop being retarded. Obviously, I'm not pro Michael Shermer. That guy's ridiculous. But Ito token $10. What does the church fathers set you by? I mean, I'm only aware of one. This the Philip Schaff set. I don't even know if it still exists. Can you still buy the Schaff set? I think it comes in paperback now. Chase had a paperback version of it. So is it on you can get the Ante-Nicene Fathers in paperback. I don't know if this is even exists. And here's ABE Books. Here's the full 38 volumes for $3,000. Here's the full set for $2,000. But even better than this is the Catholic University set, CUA. But I don't know that you can buy this whole set anywhere. It's probably $5,000 to buy this whole thing.
You got to go to used bookstores. You might be able to find one.
That's probably right. Now, see, is this it right here? Oh, look at that. That's it, I think, the CUA one. My university had this, and they got rid of it. That's how stupid Murray State is. They get rid of all their books, including this. They had this entire, I think they had the entire CUA press. This is it right here. Now look at this lucky dude right here. He's got the whole CUA press set right there. But if you were to buy that, I mean, that'd probably be $10,000. Who knows? Anyway. Kievan Roos, what's up? You want to unmute, bro? Unmute, dude. Okay, don't. Guys, thank you so much. Cheese Click says for $10. Thank you for your work, Jay. For your information, it's poorer, like Bill Gates says. Okay. I'll get those numbers down. Guys, remember that Esoteric Hollywood 3 is out. You can get signed copies in the shop at Jay's Analysis. I have a... Oh, we got more super chats over here. Excuse me. I'm going to be on a podcast here in a minute, so I'm going to have to go. But thank you guys in the chat for calling in. Appreciate you guys very much. Kievan, I don't know why you didn't want to talk, but whatever, dude. Adam Johnson, $10. Jay, if the likeness of God is theosis, what is the image? Well, the Orthodox view is that image and likeness. What's a Rob raid? Who's Rob? Rob Knower? What does that mean? People in the chat said this is a Rob raid. Is that Rob from Crucible? Shout out to the Crucible, by the way. Thank you guys we always get those sweet raids from those dudes. Appreciate that. Is the podcast live? I don't know how she does her podcast. So there's a new age psychonaut gal who converted to Orthodoxy, and she is going to have me on her podcast. So you'll know. Rob Knower. Every time I see Rob Knower, it makes me think of that Australian pagan dude or New Zealand pagan dude that called into debate. Remember him? Knower. So when I see Rob Knower, I say in my mind, Knower, like him. Anyway. So in the Orthodox view, image and likeness is the deification, the theosis, the life of the Holy Spirit. The image is the things that we possess as faculties that are like God, reasoning, etc. Having even a Christological image being made after the pattern of Christ. Adam is made on the pattern of Christ. That's something unique to the Orthodox view and the Eastern Fathers. And what Adam lost in the fall is the life of the Holy Spirit. So regaining the life of the Holy Spirit is what that means. Buck the Cowboy, $10. Who's a false prophet in Revelation? Is he a gopher for Antichrist? I thought this said golfer for Antichrist. Yes, he is. Arnold Palmer is the false prophet of the book of Revelation. A gopher. The false prophet in the book of Revelation, I think, in the immediate context, is the fallen high priesthood of the Jews. And that's why it's decked out and it's described in the imagery of a apostate whore, the way that the prophets always describe the apostate high priesthood in Jerusalem. That's the immediate 70 AD context for the book of Revelation. However, at the end of the world, there will be some apostate version of that, which could be an apostate church. So the church is in mass apostasy. That's my take on the false prophet. So it could be a papacy figure. It could be a Judaized papacy. It could be something like that. Let's talk God, $5. When you were in RCA, no, we did that. Excuse me. M. Dujanovic says for $10, I'm a poor. It's okay, dude. The way that's just jokes for the people. We make these jokes and people won't be able to take it. They'll be, oh, look at this guy. He hates poor people. He's so weird. It's just jokes, man. Hopefully this audience is high. I think our audience is high IQ enough to, like, you know, to wash their butts. You know what I mean? We got Nelly back. Nelly the rapper. He's putting his clothes on before it's getting hot in here. Take off all your clothes. Nelly's converted. He's modest now. He's putting on all his clothes. He says for $25. Where do I buy your tracks? Funko Pop, Pay Piggy, etc. I haven't put them up to buy yet, but maybe I should. They're just on my channel, so you can maybe I don't know how Spotify works. I don't know how do you put your music as just music? Because I know the podcast is on there, but I don't know how to put music up. Sam, $5. My wife and I are inquirers. She's Hebrew roots, but she wants to debate orthodoxy with me. Here's my script. And well, I appreciate the Google Doc there, but I don't have time to read an entire Google Doc on that. What I would say is get your wife to watch the excellent documentary at Orthodox Shahada, Christian Worship in the Old Testament. This is one of the best things for the sort of Judaized, Hebrew roots, Messianic stuff. So there you go. Because it shows that the real Hebrew roots, the real Messianic Judaism is Orthodox Christianity, the real one, not the schismatic Judaizing stuff. Amber Whiskey Sunshine, $10. Thank you for the schooling. You're welcome. Amber Whiskey Sunshine. That's a name right there. Ortho Anglo Croat, $30. Jay, your mama's so fat that she sat on Trad Cat and Skittles popped out. It doesn't make sense, and that's why I like it. Finnegan, $3. Thank you, dog. J Mel, $15. I tried to put in Google Maps a church that is not compromised, and the only Protestant churches came up. Google is inverted. Yeah, I don't think Google's going to give you like based and trad churches by searching like that. Kay Van Roos says, sorry, my spaces audio didn't work. Keep it real, Kang. Appreciate that. All good. Cheese click, $2. Poor. Okay, the poors. Kay Van Roos, $5. Is commemorating Leo as a bishop of the church and prior to EP at Fanar a red line in your book? Yeah, I would say commemorating the Pope is a red line. JB Peltier, $5. Tom Segura's Poors thing is a long-running bit. His audience just happens to be vicious degens, and they take everything badly. You have no need to worry. Appreciate that. Yeah, I figured it was like probably something that people misunderstood, but then again, I mean, I could also see somebody doubling down, you know what I mean? Thank you guys so much. Everybody have a good night.